We'd like to welcome everyone viewing our live stream right here on YouTube Live. Everyone, sit tight, grab some eggnog, or a hot cup of cocoa, hot cocoa that is, and prepare to get your geek on. PopX starts now.
I'm Ryan Dombrowski.
I'm the Ninja Fat Man from Doom Ninja Podcast,
a podcast member of the Gonna Geek Network.
just like the show you're listening to now.
The opinions expressed are those of each individual host.
Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
And get ready, because geekiness begins in 3,
2,
1.
This is PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture. We're a geek podcast for geek culture, so are you ready to get your geek on? Sit back, relax, step out of your TARDIS and warm up your chimichangas, because this is PopXcast.
You are listening to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
PopXcast.
Hasta la vista, baby.
By the power of Grayskull, Autobots, transform. Excelsior!
And welcome, everyone. This is PopXcast number 39, coming to you live right here on PopX.live. Lindsay Badger,
Hey,
there's a tree
how was
behind
the
me.
Turkey Day? How was your Turkey Day? First of all, before we jump into that holiday.
Okay, Turkey Day was really awesome. I didn't have to cook.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah,
I'll
so
one up you. I didn't have
Okay.
to cook because I had 2 Thanksgivings.
wait, you had double the
One
pleasure,
on
double the
each side.
turkey?
I had a Thursday Thanksgiving, and then we had one last night, Saturday.
What?
So I didn't have to cook twice. We had double the turkey, double the awesomeness. Even pumpkin pie with the extra whipped cream on top, because you know you can't finish off a Thanksgiving without pumpkin pie.
Great Scott, Marty.
I know, it was glorious.
That was wonderful. All right, so Alex and I last week we were up in South Carolina. Last year we were up in South Carolina with some family, and you know they provided the turkey, they provided the ham. It was really awesome. And this year, you know, just coming off the stems of the New York trip, we were like, oh, I'm really tired, and I do not want to dirty up the kitchen. So we catered out and got some catered turkey and dressing and mashed potatoes and and rolls and all and pumpkin pie and all that stuff. So we didn't have to do anything. We just, you know, there it is.
That's the way to do it.
Hodgepodge.
That's
Oh,
definitely
I
the
want
way
a
to
little turkey. I want a little bit of this. So yeah, it was really nice.
And then
You just-
leftovers
you
too,
just-
right?
you
Because
just
you know,
yeah. Oh yeah, we had leftovers.
it's
You
the
just-
holiday that keeps on giving.
and tooting, by the way. I mean, what is
Oh,
it with holiday
goodness.
stuffing?
What is it with you and that?
I mean, it's just like the more stuffing I eat, I thought, and I was literally, I was hovering over the driveway. I didn't even have
Oh,
to get the weed blower out to like blow
You guys,
the
you've
leaves.
got to watch this guy. You've
No,
got to watch this.
I just bent over because I don't know what it is about holiday. I think it's a sage. Personally, I think it's a combination of sage and celery. Just it's explosive.
could do
I
it.
mean, it's
That
a magical thing. But
We have to keep you away from the open fires.
it's really cool though. We got up on Thanksgiving morning and we watched the Macy's Day Parade, and of course Alex is a huge dog lover, So we watched the National Dog Show, which was really fun.
Okay.
And it was really neat because we were able to see the Rockefeller tree with the scaffolding down. And as you guys recall, I was in New York just last week, and we got to see it with the scaffolding, and they're putting the lights and the bulbs and all the ornaments on it. And so it was really neat to see because they were broadcasting from both locations, Rockefeller and Broadway. But then this happened. So there's a massive tree behind me, and I don't know what's going on there, but it's a massive tree. I want to give a shout out right quick. We got Doug Hawks joining us. We got Luke hanging out, and we got my buddy from Blue Man Group, Zach Bloom, hanging out in the chat. What is up, my friend? He's hanging out in the live PopX.live chat room. All right, guys. So you had a good Thanksgiving.
We had a great Thanksgiving.
Black Friday?
I did online Black Friday. I did end up going into a store, but it was just to go straight to guest services, pick up a toy, and I booked it out of there. I was thankful I got a nice parking spot, and I didn't want anything else to do with that holiday.
Okay.
It was crazy. So, we did a little bit of shopping this weekend, but not a lot. I didn't want to get out in the middle of all the crazy. We did end up getting our Christmas tree up, but the tree decided to stop working in sections, so we're going to have to go to the store later and finish that project another time.
I saw something this weekend, and we'll get right on into our show here, but I saw something this weekend that kind of really made me lose faith in humanity when you fight over a $2.99 pillow from Kohl's. I was like, really? I was like, really? You're fighting over a pillow?
That's a literal face bomb right here.
It's just like, and it's one of those cheap pillows that are like flat, hurts your neck, no contour, no shape, no neck support, nothing. It's just a cheap pillow. And people are fighting over a $2.99 pillow. I'm like,
I'll give them my pillow. I'll go buy a good one
God
later.
bless them. If they need a pillow, I'll take care of it. Hey guys, welcome to PopX, where science fiction meets pop culture. I'm your host, Joe Burke, Central Florida's seasoned comic book nerd and retro enthusiast. We'd like to welcome everyone joining us live right here in the PopX.live and Geeks.live chat room. Come hang out with us and join the conversation.
Yeah, and you guys will notice that Austin's not here tonight.
Well, this is a story within a story within another story. Austin was bit by a radioactive spider and has now been stuck on the ceiling for 4 days. No, I'm just messing. But Austin was bit by a black widow, not once, but twice. Austin,
the poor guy.
You have the worst luck.
So you said his hand is like the size of a football tonight, right?
Yeah, he's got a football hand. I mean, he couldn't canoodle himself if he tried right now. So it's just like he's.
Hey, keep it safe for the kids now. Come on.
Canoodling is not a bad word. You can take it in any way you want to.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but Austin is in he's in a bad shape right now. So,
well, you guys, I am Lindsay Badger, your favorite geeky okie, and we are going to steer this show true all the way to the end with just the two of us, and it'll be just as fun. We miss you, Austin, and we hope we get to see you again next week. If you missed last week's episode 38, you guys missed out on a good one. We went over everything Luke Cage, and if you missed it and you want to see it again, or you just want to see it over and over again because it's that good, go back and make sure you check it out on our official website, PopXcast.com. Also, while you're checking out all of our stuff, make sure you head over to Google Play or iTunes and click the subscribe button to catch up on some amazing shows from the PopX archive. And while you're there, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating and a review. And we would certainly appreciate all the love that you give us.
Anyway,
yes, we love you guys.
All right. So are you ready to get this news going?
Let's get it.
All right. We'll be right back.
Extra, read all about it. This is PopX News, coming to you live right here on PopXcast.com.
Well, this has become a trend for 2016, and I hate to bring you this news. I mean, 2016 has been the worst year for Hollywood.
It really has.
I think that I can remember. I mean, it was just, Farrah Fawcett and Michael Jackson was bad. That was a bad year. But this has just been a terrible year. So many greats. And just leading it off on the top, some even more sad news starting the week. Brady Bunch star and America's Mom, beloved Florence Henderson, has passed away on Friday from heart complications. She was 82 years young. Florence got her start on NBC's Today Show and was a regular on Hollywood Squares game show. And she even had
loved
her
her.
own show. Oh, who didn't love Florence Henderson?
She had like the biggest smile on the planet.
And
man, I swear.
warm. I mean, it was just warmth. She oozed warmth and just she had that motherly instinct. And I think that's what so many people connected to her on the Brady Bunch, because she not only acted it, she lived it out in real life. But she had her own show on the morning show in the early 2000s, and she was even on Dancing with the Stars in 2010.
I remember that.
She God bless her.
Yeah, my heart goes out to her family. I hate it. Anybody's lost, even a famous loss. I know more people mourn for the fans and whatnot. But
so, with the negative out of the way, we're moving forward now.
Yes. Well, in 2017, TNT will be bringing back the iconic Crypt Keeper in the new Tales from the Crypt.
What?
The new show will not be as violent and gory as the original HBO series, but will be some of the stories from the original comics. So that's kind of cool, because I remember this guy literally giving me nightmares when I was a kid. So I'm glad that he's going to give my kids nightmares now. So it's going to like a generational pass down.
His voice was kind of a mix between Mark Hamill's Joker and...
I was going to say, he sounds a lot like
Tales from the Crypt Keeper. So, it was pretty awesome, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so
you should totally do that.
See, I'm doing Mark Hamill's Joker as if it was Mark Hamill, but it's anyway. But this is kind of cool. I think this is great because they're doing the stories from the comics and not stories written specifically for television. I think that's going to be a nice twist.
It will be a nice twist for sure.
I think it's a nice twist because some of the comic stories are actually really classic. And so if they hit some of those old classic storylines, that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a game changer because it's not just one story, it's multiple series. So they can't just do one.
I can see them bringing back the old episodes too as reruns.
Or tying into some of the old ones, the old favorites, the ones that people remember. I remember one that was like the lady who was sawed in half, and then the guy who was selling the ice cream, and he was actually selling body parts out. I was like, "What? This is crazy! Who does that?" Yeah.
This is totally not my genre.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. But
it's fun.
Anyway, Pixar, moving on to some really cool news this week. We got dropped down that Pixar released their first ever teaser trailer for Cars 3. And it shows some pretty cool footage of a race. And Lightning McQueen is getting involved in a terrible wreck. And after seeing plenty of sparks flying around, McQueen is flying upside down on the screen before slamming back down to the ground. At the end of the trailer, there's words that read, "From this moment, everything will change." So the film is scheduled to be released in summer of 2017. Lindsay Bader, do you think that Lightning McQueen is going to be injured, or do you think he's going to get a new body or come back as a different
It's
make?
really hard to tell with Pixar because sometimes they do tragedies. But they turn it around to where it's like, it's okay. You don't have to be in the spotlight to be a winner, that kind of thing. So you never know what's going to happen. I think that
we saw Up, which makes me cry every time I watch Up. I can't watch that
some of the Pixar movies you can't watch even 1,000 times without crying, at least a little bit. So I don't know. I think maybe he'll retire from the professional racing and find some kind of other life purpose.
Doug in the chat room says, "Make cars great again."
Maybe he'll turn himself into a Tesla.
It's going to be huge.
He'll become the next electric race car.
That's my best Donald Trump. Anyway,
I can't think of it.
Okay, it's all right.
Moving
on. Anyway.
All right. Well, let's move on to Marvel Comics has announced its first post-Inhumans versus X-Men Resurrection series. Yes. Series to feature the Inhumans. The new series is titled Royals and will star the Inhuman royal family as they leave Earth and journey into outer space. And it will be launching in April 2017.
Very interesting. So this is going to be some cool new story arcs that they're exploring with the Inhumans, and I'm sure this is going to be coinciding with the the Inhumans on Marvel's Agents of Shield as well. I mean, I'm sure that this may tie in. It may not. I don't know. But it's going to be really interesting as the Inhuman royal family journey out into space. Will they collide with Guardians of the Galaxy? Who will they face? Who will they see? Interesting.
That would be
Very
pretty
interesting.
cool.
Yes.
That would be really cool.
So, moving forward here, starting on Monday, November the 28th,
Tomorrow.
which is tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Kind of excited about it.
The 4-show crossover that we have been talking about
Over and
for
over
the
again.
past 4 or 5 months. We were talking about it when it was like, oh, we're getting ready to see a crossover, all 4 shows.
The
It's
aliens
happening.
are invading.
The
It's
aliens are
happening.
here. Yes. The CW has released a poster for each of the shows, and when the posters are joined together, the background is presumably the new Star Labs facility. Oh, look at that.
Can I just for a minute say, with our powers combined,
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet.
Captain Planet.
He's all here. Anyway,
No, that's cool though. I would love to have all those posters and just put them on my wall right next to each other. That'd be great.
But it has an uncanny resemblance to the Hall of Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that? I mean, there's a video game on the PlayStation 4. It's Injustice: Gods Among Us, which is where you are DC characters fighting each other. And
Okay.
there's one map. It's called the Hall of Justice, and I swear this looks exactly like the Hall of Justice from the video game Injustice. It's crazy. So it's a fighting game. It's along the lines of like Mortal Kombat, but it's superheroes.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Awesome. Well, we're going to shift over to Marvel again.
Mhm.
Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige.
Feige.
Gosh,
Feige.
Feige. See, I
Feige.
can't even say it now,
Kevin
and you've
Feige.
already told me.
Feige.
Anyways, that guy, he closed the door on X-Men in the MCU. During an interview, he was asked if they could partner with Fox as they did with Sony for Spider-Man. And he said that it's an impossibility at this juncture, and we certainly have enough films to keep us busy for a number of lifetimes. So it's pretty much no more X-Men right now, or probably ever, according to him.
In
What
a
do you feel
perfect
about
world,
that?
in a perfect
Are you
world,
okay
I
with
would.
that?
In a
Because
perfect world,
X-Men had
honestly,
a really good run.
I would love to see Hugh Jackman with Chris Evans and Hemsworth side by side, Logan as it was meant to be in the comics, but this stupid licensing thing, man. Marvel.
It's kind of ruined it all, huh?
Well, they kind of
side of it all.
did it to themselves pretty much back in the day, because when Marvel was venturing into the cinematic, they needed to seek out studios to be able to actually house their films, and Fox was one of them. Sony got Spider-Man. They're like, okay, so if we go to Sony, they can do Spider-Man, and that'll be really good, and they can also do Fantastic Four, and then Fox, come in and man, it's just now it's a nightmare that Marvel can't come back from. I mean, they were able to make negotiations with Sony in terms of Spider-Man, but X-Men is so far in now, it's impossible to keep that going.
No backpedaling on that one.
No backpedaling. So, unfortunately, these are strange times that we live in. Bummer.
I know.
So, from Marvel Studios, with that news, all the way over to Star Wars, Rogue One in just oh my God, seriously, who is not excited for this movie? All right, the robot is freaking cute in this movie.
He's pretty darn adorable.
And you know what I like about him? He kind of looks like what a robot would look like in like a golden age era.
Mm-hmm.
He's
kind of steampunky a little bit.
A little steampunky. I like it. Yeah. It's got an edgy steampunk vibe to it. And so, what is Zach Bloom over in the chat room? What do you guys think about Doug? And we got Luke. So what do you guys think about the new Star Wars movie coming out in just a couple of weeks? Let us know what you think, and we will definitely. Zach says, I'm all over this. It's really cool. So early box office projections show that the film is on track to have a $130 million opening weekend here in North America. The film officially hits theaters on December the 16th. Advanced ticket pre-sales have begun for November the 28th at 12:01 a.m. And so I know myself and Mr. Doug Hawks over in the chat room. We will be, me and you got that thing, you know what I'm saying? Got a little,
Got that thing you do.
got a little bro
All the
night.
geeky thing.
Got a little bro night going ahead. You know what I'm saying? So look forward to that. So it's gonna be cool. And I try to see if I can take if he's photogenic and allow me to take one. I'll see if I can get a picture for PopXcast for the
Oh,
following
that would
week.
be so cool, Doug. Please play along and let us take your picture.
Yeah,
Because
it's
that
okay.
would be awesome. Oh,
It's
I got
okay.
a thumbs up.
Okay. So Zach
We'll
says,
see.
okay, number one, we need to hear Vader's voice, otherwise the major letdown for fans. I could, you know what? Yeah, I got to hear James Earl Jones.
Gotta have a little Vader.
All right, so this week's PopX Hit It of the Week. Oh my God!
And now it's time for PopX's Hit It of
Hold
the
on a
Week.
minute. Before we dive into that, we got one more thing.
Okay.
CW is going to be shaking it up on the prime time.
Yeah.
With their superhero lineup, because they're going to be shifting up the DC Legends of Tomorrow from Thursdays at 8 over to Tuesday at 9 to follow the Flash starting in January. They're trying so hard. This is their last-ditch effort to save the show, as it's lost half of its viewers since the premiere of season 2, which is really sad because I actually enjoy the show quite a bit. So,
I actually do like the show.
Yeah. So hopefully moving it to a new time slot that buckles right behind the Flash, people will stick around and watch it.
It's kind of like Doctor Who meets superheroes.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like Marty and McFly. You know, they're in the time machine, they're going around, they're bouncing around, and at the end of the day, though, you can really truly only time jump so much.
Do you think it's because Rip Hunter's not in there anymore? I'm thinking that's probably what lost the main interest of it, to be honest.
I don't know.
But I mean, they still go on fantastic adventures.
But is he genuinely dead,
Atom
though?
has lost his suit, so he basically hangs out on the ship all day.
Is he genuinely dead, though?
I don't think he is. I think he'll make an appearance, but he hasn't made an appearance.
I don't think he's dead either.
There's no signs of life at this point. Plus, we lost. Oh God, I can't remember his name. The freeze guy. I totally lost his name right now.
Yes, Doctor.
I was really upset to not have him back.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, there's a couple of things that they changed this season that I can see why they've lost some interest, but it's still a really good, solid show. So I hope that they stick around for at least one more season.
Yeah. Hopefully they can salvage it. I mean, it's not a bad show, I don't think, but I think it's getting definitely overshadowed by Flash and Arrow and now Supergirl. There's a lot going on there, and there's a ton. It's a lot for people to keep up with, and at the end of the day, when you have 4 shows competing for the limelight, one of them is going to be superior to the other ones. So, you know, and I think that's where DC's Legends of Tomorrow is kind of falling into that bandwagon. But moving on from that into this week's PopX Hit It of the Week. Let's play it again.
And now it's time for PopX's Hit It of the Week.
All right, so Mark Hamill's pop culture quest is making waves around the internet. And if you have not seen this show, oh my God, Lindsay Badger, she turned me on to this show. It is freaking amazing. It's 20 minutes that you will not regret it watching. And it's a really fun ride at the heart of pop culture as he guides Mark Hamill himself on these journeys, viewers on amazing geeky things. And the first episode opens up with him going into the secret vault at DC Comics, and he gets to actually see the print editions of Batman #1, the print edition of the Action Comics #1, the first appearance of Superman.
Yep,
and this
the
is
house copy.
The house copies, the ones that actually have the side paper on it that actually went to the printers. It's cool. It is really cool.
They have trays of like alternate endings and like concept art on the walls everywhere, and just like it's the coolest thing ever. I mean, if you're even slightly interested in comics, you need to watch this show, at least the first episode, and get your geek on, because it'll open your eyes to so many cool things. You get to see inside the lobby of the DC offices, which Joe and I looked it up after we watched this show, and they do not do public tours. So this is the only way you'll get to actually see what the DC offices look like on the inside. And it's
unless you know
epic.
someone that works inside there, someone. And I don't know anyone, so I don't think I'll ever be able to grace that beautiful place.
And he's going to be covering other topics too. This was just the first episode. I think episode 2 just came out, and it's about old toys like Godzilla, I think was the main focus. But there was some other toys mentioned in there too. And he's got some other things on the lineup. And a bonus point, there's a puppet that is his co-host of
His
the show,
companion. Yeah.
his companion of the show. So, you get a little bit of a Jim Henson flair thrown in there too, I think.
So, for more information, be sure to check out his Facebook page, which is kind of, I want to say, is central point for most of his publicity. It's facebook.com/popculturequest. And he also is streaming on the Comic-Con HQ network. So if you're subscribed to that, you can also get each episode as it's released at that moment in streaming beautiful 4K quality. So that is this week's PopX Hit It of the Week. And with that said, we're going straight into this week's special feature, which is origin stories. Now, Lindsay Badger came up with the idea of doing an origin story series after we finish up with our comics history of comics series, which will be next week. Will be our final part 4 series. So with that said, we are going to dive into this week's origin stories of, well, we saw Batman versus Superman. We saw a glimpse of Aquaman. We saw just a little glimpse of him. But not a lot of people, unless you've watched like Smallville and you've seen him appear in those quick 6 episodes on Smallville, or you've seen him in Justice League animated series on television, you might not know much about Tom Curry, the guy behind Aquaman. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to unpack that. The reason why is next year we get Justice League, and that's going to be coming out into theaters. And so we want to prepare you. That way you can, all right, so who's Aquaman? I mean, I've seen him in the comics. I never read one of his comics. Most people are either like on the fence between, well, is it Aquaman or is it Green Lantern? Where am I going to go? So most people are on the fence between the two of those. A lot of people doesn't know. And with Killer Croc as well, we always do a hero and a villain. So we're going to do origin stories of a hero and origin stories of a villain. This week's villain is going to be Killer Croc. As you know, he appeared in Suicide Squad, and they didn't really go into his origin story. Did you notice
he was like
that?
a brief mention, but you could tell he had a sign of intelligence. He was more than just a reptile, so it was kind of an interesting character that needed to be explained a little more.
So what we're going to do, since Suicide Squad came out, and since Justice League is coming out in a year or so, we're going to go ahead and start doing these. And we're also going to be doing one on X-Men, which we already have planned because we already know that they're planning one around Logan, which is going to be dropping, and then Deadpool as well. So we're going to be doing one on Mr. Sinister and possibly maybe Domino, which is Deadpool's lover / companion. So
I would just before we dive in too deep, if you guys have any suggestions on characters that you want us to dive deep into, we can definitely add them to the list and see about getting them thrown into the schedule. That would be awesome.
So without further said ado, let's go ahead and start up with Aquaman here. And let's just start with his powers and abilities. I mean, you have to start right off the top. I mean, he is a god, first and foremost. Aquaman is a god. Aquaman has a number of superhuman powers, most of which has been inherited from his Atlantean origins, and he has ability to live in the depths of the ocean floor. Although most Atlanteans possess the same abilities as Arthur, his royal lineage and double heritage makes him superior to any other Atlantean. Aquaman is, for all intents and purposes, a super Atlantean, allowing him to breathe outside of water longer than his normal Atlantean friends, and he possesses a great amount of superhuman powers that follows. And this is just a list of his superhuman powers, and I got these from his little action cards. It's really great. So, according, I know, if I'm pulling this so geek moment right now.
So geeky, but it's awesome.
Snort. Superhuman strength, superhuman durability. He has stamina. He can heal himself really quickly. Not like Wolverine or Deadpool, but he can heal really quickly. I think along the lines of Superman. He has superhuman reflexes, speed, and agility. He does do a superhuman jump, much like, not to the extent of the Incredible Hulk, but kind of close. And enhanced senses and sonar. Yes, Aquaman has sonar built right into that brain. He has marine telepathy, which means he can communicate with all marine life in the ocean.
Wow.
He has underwater adaptation, which means he can breathe and live underwater. He is a master swimmer, expert combatant, and he can expect, he's kind of an expert tactician and leader as well. And did I mention he's a god? He's royalty. Yes. Holy cow. and he owns Poseidon's trident, and he has the god Poseidon's blessing. Holy cow!
He's like an underwater Superman without the laser vision.
He is, and it's so right off the bat. So that is Aquaman. I mean, he is.
Wow.
He is one dude you do not want to mess with. He can summon the giant squids and the whales and anything that's in the ocean. He can summon it and talk to it and communicate with it and let it do its bidding. So according to his first origin story, Aquaman, aka Arthur Curry, was a son of Atlanta, and she is an Atlantean princess banished from Atlantis due to her interest in a frequent visits to the surface world and Tom Curry, a surface man and lighthouse keeper. One night, amidst a terrible storm, Tom Curry would find Atlanta thrown up on shore by a storm-tossed waves and rescued her from harm. Both Curry and Alana made the lighthouse their home and developed a strong bond that would quickly lead to a sentimental relationship, which in turn would lead to the birth of one Arthur Curry.
Oh, that's such a sweet little love story. You know what it reminds me of, right?
What's that?
It reminds me of Ariel in The Little Mermaid.
I was going to say Notebook, but yeah, you can say Ariel.
I mean, it totally looks like Ariel swimming up to the surface, falling in love with a prince, except for the royalties just kind of flipped. But, I mean, it's just...
look at that vintage print there with the halftone print. I can... No.
Wrong movie.
Okay, anyway.
Anywho. All right. Well, Tom Curry accepted his relationship with Atlanta, and though he always knew that there was more to her than she would let on, he never asked her about her origins. After Arthur was born, all of that became even more irrelevant as his presence there cemented the bond between the two of them. 2 years after his birth, young Arthur was found by his father playing underwater after he'd apparently been there for over an hour without drowning. Now, if I was the parent, I would be freaking out.
That's a bit freaky dicky. That's a bit freaky.
I'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah, look at that.
That would freak me out. Okay, well, several years later, both Tom and Arthur himself would learn the truth of Atlanta's origins, as she would reveal that she came from a lost continent of Atlantis while she lay on her deathbed. Atlanta would also reveal to Arthur that he had inherited her ability to live and breathe underwater, as well as her power to communicate with and control all marine life. So let's see, he's like what, 2-3 years old at this point?
And he's already...
Is that right?
And yeah, he's kind of already falling.
How do you swallow that pill whenever you're a toddler?
Look, Mom, look what I can do. It's crazy.
I can make the fishies jump.
Imagine how fun that beach trip would be.
I think that'd be pretty fun.
Hey, you want to see a dolphin? You want to see me ride a dolphin? You want to see a dolphin ride me? Anyway.
Nice dolphin.
Flipper. Anyway, so after Alana's death, Arthur's father became determined to train him both physically and mentally so that he would one day be able to complete the control his powers. Arthur was also taught by his father to view himself as someone special, as a savior of the oceans, the king of the seven seas, if you will. Later, after his father's death, Arthur Curry would leave the lighthouse, which had been home to him and his family for years, to venture into the oceans and find his true destiny. He would later become the king of Atlantis and marry Mira, a visitor from the other dimensional water world known as Zeeble. Arthur would also take young Aqualad under his wing and fight forces of evil side by side with the occasional help of his wife, Mira. And there is Mira.
She's so pretty.
And it has been rumored that Queen Mira is going to be in Justice League in a brief cameo. So we get to see...
I hope so.
We get to see the Queen and her royalty.
Very cool. Okay, well, we're going to dive into the Golden Age Earth 2.
Okay.
Which is between about 1938, 1950-ish time frame. So in his first appearances in the comics, Arthur was able to breathe underwater and swim at high speeds and communicate with marine life. And he was seen to directly communicate with aquatic creatures rather than telepathically. And it worked best on sea life that were within close distances. Arthur also possessed superhuman strength inherited from his Atlantean ancestry. Although he was depicted as a sovereign of the seas with the entire ocean as his domain, it was never fully established that that Aquaman explored the places across the world. Having an ancient temple of lost Atlantis kept underwater was his solitary throne. During his early adventures, most of Aquaman's enemies were Nazi U-boat commanders and Axis.
Let's just stop you right there. Those dang Nazis.
I know they always pop up in these comics.
I'm telling you, it's almost as if DC and Marvel had a vendetta against.
It's like they wanted to, promote the war or something.
Well, if you think about it, the
time frame
creators.
fits.
Well, no, the creators of Aquaman and the creators of Captain America were Jewish immigrants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Get it? Holocaust.
They weren't fans.
Yep.
They were not fans of
they
the
were
Nazis.
Not fans. Yeah.
However, he was soon dealt with having to fight off the likes of various criminalized mariners, as well as other various threats to sea life and aquatic activities. Aquaman made his last appearance in More Fun Comics number 107 and continued on in Adventure Comics number 103 alongside Green Arrow and Superboy starting in 1946.
And that would lead us now. That was typically the golden age of Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was pretty much his abilities and what we know of him in a nutshell between 38 and 1950. So as we graduate into the Silver Age, there's a little bit more to unpack. There's a little bit more of his story that's revealed in terms of like his telepathic powers and just some more details. So Aquaman's adventures continued in the Adventure Comics throughout the 1950s as one of the few superheroes to last through the decade in a continuous publication, also implying new elements along the way to expand Aquaman's mythology with the introduction of various supporting characters and slight adjustments to his original origin, powers, design, and persona. The first of these elements came about in Adventures Comics 229 when they introduced Aquaman's sidekick, Octopus Topo. So he had a sidekick, and it's kind of funny, Guardians of the Galaxy, they got a sidekick, they got Apollo, and Aquaman's got Topo. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Oh, but look at that Adventures Comics. That is pretty neat right there. That's a good
Can
grab.
I just pause for a minute to say hello to Wagner down in the chat over there?
What's up,
Welcome.
my Fred? What's up,
Thank
Wagner?
you for stopping by to say hello.
Hello, Mr. Wagner. And continuing on with some of these Silver Age snippets in the Adventures Comics 260, it was revealed that Aquaman was the son of Tom Curry, as Lindsay pointed out, a lighthouse keeper with Atlanta, rather, and an Atlantean royal princess banished from Atlantis due to her interest in the frequent visits to the surface world. Oh, those darn surface dwellers. Having been born half human, half Atlantean, not only was Arthur able to survive on land, but he was also able to breathe underwater without any grasp or gasps for air. He also possessed superhuman abilities such as his strength, communication to sea life, and accelerated swimming powers. Eventually, Arthur decided to use his talents to protect the ocean floor, venturing off as Aquaboy, soon having his first encounter with Superboy. At the time, was one of the only active superheroes on Earth. Later on, when Arthur grew up, he called himself Aquaman. Mm-hmm. And then it was then revealed that the death of Lana, Tom Curry later married an ordinary human and had a son named Orm. Orm grew up troubled as a troubled child and was always getting bailed out by Arthur. Being in the shadow of his brother, Orm grew up to have lots of hatred towards Arthur, not only for his powers, but he could never have any powers himself. But he also, thought that, his father favored Arthur more. So Orm eventually disappeared for some time and resurfaced years later as Aquaman's greatest adversaries, known as the Ocean Master.
I'm glad he had a change of heart.
I'm glad he did too. I'm glad that worked out for him. And the last snippet here from the Silver Age. During the Silver Age, Aquaman's ability to connect with sea life soon expanded to completely developed telepathic communication with aquatic creatures, even from great distances. However, he began to retroactively develop a specific weakness. Despite being depicted to have been able to breathe properly both in and out of water in prior stories, he is now required to make a contact with the water every other hour or he'll die of dehydration. Interesting. I did not know that. I did not know that.
Salt water, or is it just fresh water, or any water?
I think it's just got to be the sea. He's got to be near the sea, so I would imagine salt water.
He's got to tap back into there.
Yep.
All right. Well, Modern Age Earth 2, which was from 1985 to today, present day. Aquaman's origins were altered when the universe was rebooted during the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now it gets a little twisted, you guys.
Weird.
So whatever you know now, it's just going to start over. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Orin was the son of Queen Atlana and Atlan, born heir to the throne of Atlantis. Knowing that King Trevis could not conceive a child with her, Atlan impregnated Atlana during a dream.
Oh, this sounds familiar.
This is trippy, but yeah, it sounds familiar. He soon prophesied the child's future and named him after his ancestor Orin. Trevis immediately knew that it wasn't his son because of his blonde hair, who might possess the curse of Cordax. I don't know what the curse of Cordax is, but it doesn't sound very good.
It's not a good thing. No, it involves a lot of demons and parademons. It's okay,
oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. With great superstition, the baby was announced a miscarriage and left to die on Mercy Reef, where his ability to communicate with sea life allowed him to be raised by dolphins.
I told you he had to be raised by dolphins. Yeah, so look at
that's so crazy. You gotta love those dolphins. Okay, so his adopted mother, Porum, which is a dolphin, gave him the name Swimmer. Although he left his new family after a fisherman killed his adopted brother Drin, his next encounter with humanity was Tom Curry, a lighthouse keeper who took him in as a son and named him Arthur Curry before his death. Then resided in Alaska, where he met and fell in love with Kako. Is it Kako or Keiko?
Keiko.
Keiko, okay. While Keiko was pregnant, a demonic god named Nuliajuk. I told you, Joe, you gave me all these hard ones. Nuliajuk forced Arthur to leave before knowing about the pregnancy. Oh boy, so he doesn't even know he's.
Here we go, days of our lives. Here we go.
Here we go. Yeah. All right, his next confrontation with a god would be Poseidon's son Triton, when he rescued the life of Princess Diana. Returning to Atlantis, Arthur was arrested and sent to hard labor in the Aquarium prison, where he found mentorship from Vulko, a former professor who taught him how to speak Atlantean. However, Arthur escaped after he had learned of his birth mother, who had died soon after his discovery. His first encounter with another superhero was the Flash, who named him Aquaman during a press conference in Crescent Shore after they had taken on the likes of the Trickster. Oh,
we know
that
Mark
troublesome Trickster.
We know Mark Hamill played the Trickster on The Flash.
He did, and he did a great job, too. Okay. Upon his next return, Orin learns that Vulko had led a revolution and claims his birthright as the king of Atlantis.
This sounds like Loki and Thor battling.
It sounds so crazy.
Yeah.
Though later on, this origin story would be recounted out by the writer Keith Giffen in the one-shot title, The Legend of Aquaman. To give way for a more modern approach, it has been adopted once more by writers Geoff Johns and Peter Tomasi as Aquaman's official background story for the 26-part maxi series Brightest Day. So first they were like, we're going to change everything. And then they were like, no, we're going to change it back. And then they're like, no, we're just going to keep the new version again. So it's like, Yeah, make up your mind, guys. Seriously.
Yeah, and we know it's a lot to take in.
It is a lot. I had to read that like 3 times to be like, wait, what?
Yeah. So the reason why we included the modern age snippet, the whole section that Lindsay just read, is because there are huge chunks of this that are going to be used in the Justice League film. The part where he lives in Alaska, if you recall in the trailer, Batman, Ben Batfleck has to go up to a fisherman's village in Alaska to find Arthur Curry. Okay.
So before we go into Killer Croc, do you have a preference on? Do you like the original origin story, or do you like the newer origin story?
The newer one is kind of complex for me. I mean, it depends on your age of Aquaman. Are you a golden ager or a silver ager or a modern ager? And so, for me personally, I'm kind of in the middle. I'm more of a silver age, which adopts the traditional mind telepathy, and I like the story of his mom kind of being banned from Atlantis and washing up and being at the lighthouse and Tom finding her and then they fell in love. I like that story a little bit better.
Well, for me, not even knowing the current story, I've basically learned all of this tonight, you guys. I'm a green comic book person, so this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this series, so I could learn. I actually like the original Aquaman story. I think that I can relate to that story a little bit more. That it gets a little more complicated.
Figured you would,
later. Yeah. So I appreciate the original origin. But you guys let us know which one.
Yeah, let us know which one you like. And like I said, the modern age ones is just too complex. There's too much red tape. There's too much. It mirrors a lot of Loki and Thor. It mirrors a lot of other dynamics in which we've seen. And a lot of people, I'm going to drop this nugget, and a lot of people don't know it, but Aquaman predates Namor. So Aquaman. Let me get that right. Hold on, wait just a second. Namor predates Aquaman. Namor is the Submariner from Marvel Comics. And he came out, I want to say, around 1941, 1939. And then here's what happened. DC got a hold of the idea, well, we want an underwater breathing superhero as well.
We want to.
Why don't we just make him, give him Poseidon's staff and just make him a god instead of the Submariner. And so Marvel Comics for years has struggled trying to have Submariner, Namor, if you will, a part of their universe, whereas Aquaman just took the idea. Like Slade Wilson and Wade Wilson. Slade Wilson is Deathstroke in DC.
Yes.
Wade Wilson is a ripoff, and that is Deadpool in Marvel Comics.
It is.
Yeah, think about it. So there's a lot of ripping off back in the day. So yeah, whichever one. So moving on, we got Killer Croc coming up, and Killer Croc, this is our villain.
It's going to be the bad guy.
Yes, this is our bad guy. So we saw him, of course, in Suicide Squad. Really amazing prosthetic, really great makeup. His original name is Waylon Jones. He was born with a condition that gave him a thick, scaly hide and razor-sharp claws teeth. As a child, he was relentlessly bullied because of his monstrous appearance. When he was only 8 years old, he snapped and almost killed one of his schoolyard tormentors. For that little incident, he spent the next 8 years of his life in reform school. He didn't like it much. Obviously, duh. Over time,
it's not there for fun.
Over his time, his contempt for humanity grew, and he started really hating people more. And so did his body. He started mutating to a grotesque proportions and becoming increasingly reptilian in appearance. The now sociopathic Waylon Jones celebrated his 18th birthday by becoming a cold-blooded murderer.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. He served 20 years for that crime and emerged from jail in Arkham to join traveling with the carnival. He quickly became the main attraction as the alligator wrestler known as the Killer Croc. It is worth noting that Croc was first found a home and developed a niche for his heretofore ghastly appearance, if you will, The circus and its inhabitants became Wayland's family and had a circus. And had the circus been able to maintain him financially afloat, who knows if Wayland would have been able to turn to organized crime after all. But the circus was kind of his safe haven for a while. In the time, Wayland would turn from petty crime and Croc's ambitions and travels led him to Gotham. And this is where he started taking a turn for the worse, where he began to forge a criminal empire to make a new home. Though rising to prominence by the elimination of the mob members who were accomplished rather quickly, his complete dominion over Gotham was followed by the native guardian known as Batman.
Batman. The Batman.
His attempts to set up shop were repeatedly thwarted by Batman, but Wayland's ability to adapt have allowed him to carry on for many years in the sewers and the stinkiness of Gotham.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's one bad mamma jamma is what it sounds like to me.
He's a Batman.
All right, well, in the new 52 origins, so we gave a little bit of a mix-up on him, but not too far off from his original. Much like his pre-Flashpoint incarnation, Wayland Jones was born with a rare condition that gave him scaly skin. He scrubbed daily to try to get the scales off and try to be normal, but he decided to give up because of the pain it gave him it was just too much for him to descale himself every day. So he grew up to become Killer Croc and work for the Gotham Circus. He was paid to wrestle crocodiles, but his bosses kept most of the money. Furious by his boss's foolish choice, Killer Croc bit off his arm. Who in the world would tick off a person that was mostly crocodile?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
That's not a good move. That's not going to that's not going to look good for you.
So after he was apprehended by the GCPD, he listened to two police officers joke about him, saying that he should stop while he's ahead and get a henchman. Killer Croc took this to heart, and he stopped being the musclehead brute, and he became more of a thinker. He gathered henchmen who were really just homeless people that worshipped Croc for taking them in. And Killer Croc now rules the sewers in Gotham with his own personal army.
Interesting.
Now that's smart.
So that's
smart.
That's smart. I like that origin story. I like that one. And so
I like that one too.
From the two different ones, we have kind of the original origin story, the new 52, and let's do kind of a quick modern age take on it if we can, and then we'll just kind of elaborate on which one's our favorite.
Sure.
So this is coming from modern age New Earth, as we know, and DC recently rebooted everything, and so this is kind of adapting from that story arc. While Croc's physical size and power increased, his intellectual abilities diminished. This left him a virtual slave to primal desires and homicidal psychosis. He took refuge in Gotham sewers, and in Nightfall, which was a comic series under the Batman brand, Killer Croc attacked a shopping mall where Batman and Robin arrived later. After delivering several blows to Croc, Batman was distracted by a glimpse of Bane. Croc then grabbed Batman and tried to break his back. He failed, and Bane pitted himself against Croc, breaking his arms. Ooh. He was then put back into Arkham Asylum. We're talking about Killer Croc here. Shortly after this era, a mysterious force beckons Croc to Louisiana swamplands. When he arrives there, it is revealed to be Swamp Thing, offering Croc a place among the bestial crocodiles in the swamps and a place
There's
for
that Swamp Thing name again. He keeps popping
refuge.
Up.
See, now Swamp Thing is a good guy. And, in the modern age New Earth, the story arc on DC, Swamp Thing actually did. I remember this story. He had compassion on him. His arms were broke. He was basically beaten down and really useless. And he had no place in Gotham. So Swamp Thing kind of said, you know what? My home is your home. You can come and live here and be among where you feel comfortable. It's really a cool story.
I think that's really nice.
It is, and so that story does play on the arc. He grew up as a kid normally, but he got this skin condition, and ended up.
He's just an angry guy.
He's just an angry guy. He just needs
With
a
a
little
weird
love.
skin condition.
Oh, so out of the three, we got the original origin, the New 52, and the modern New Era. I would have to say personally for me, I'm kind of torn between the New 52 and the modern because
I'm
I
a New
kind of
52 girl all the way.
are you?
I'm pretty much solid on that. I think that we could bring in the ending, like,
Yeah.
eventually he gets tired of running his army, disbands it, and then he goes hangs out with Swamp Thing. That would be like my New 52 with my twist of modern thrown in there.
I agree, and it was kind of sad because we really truly didn't get to see that origin story of Killer Croc and Suicide Squad, and they had plenty of time to put something in there because we saw the origin story of pretty much Harley Quinn and the Enchantress and everybody else, but poor old Killer Croc.
Oh,
What is
the
it?
mayor has arrived, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my
Cliff
God,
Bodenweiser is in the chat.
Cliff
Hello,
B.W.
Cliffy.
Bodenweiser. Oh man! So if
All right.
we're talking about Killer Croc, would he be Mayor? We got to come up with a name for him. What would be his hero name?
I don't know.
Super Mayor.
Super Mayor. I like it.
I don't know. Oh, all right.
I like it.
We'll go.
Well,
with
let's cover his powers and abilities real quick.
Okay.
All right. So Waylon Jones was born with a rare skin condition similar to epidermolytic hyperkeratosis.
Bam.
Granting him scaly reptilian appearance. Yes, I practiced that one, people. As well as this, he also had super strength in that he can rip bank vault doors straight off the wall, near super speed and agility like that of an animal, and given to him by highly animalistic disease that he's, is part of his development there. Killer Croc also maintains a powerful healing factor. He's healed broken limbs and spinal injuries from Bane. He also possesses razor sharp claws and teeth. And Croc is also an expert swimmer. His reptilian genes give him more underwater aptitude. As his mutation has progressed, Jones has grown even farther to resemble an actual reptile. And he's an experienced alligator wrestler and street fighter. So you don't want to make this guy mad. You want to stay on his good side,
Yeah, and judging by the size of him, he's about 7.5, 8 feet tall. And I don't actually have his card, but I want to say that Killer Croc comes in probably around several hundred pounds. So just think about that.
Would you say he's at least a 7-footer? Probably 8?
I would say so. Let's go to the thing here.
Not counting the tail.
Not counting the tail. No. According
does he have a tail? I don't remember.
I don't think he does. I think he's just very beastly looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just a beastly looking dude. But he is considered to be a mutant, by the way. I think that's worth pointing out. That is the cause of his genetic mutation that he's a mutant. But as a matter of fact, I was talking about a game earlier. Remember the Injustice Gods Among Us? You can actually play as Killer Croc and beat Batman's bones down. Gotcha. Just saying. So if you want Bats to have his vengeance, you can do that.
So is he a mutant like a meta-human kind of thing where
he would be in the meta category, yeah.
The meta category. Sure. Gotcha.
Yeah, so he would definitely be in that frame of mind. Interesting villain. Interesting character altogether. Yes. Yeah. So what do you think about what guys in the chat room? We got Zach, we got Luke, we got Cliff, we got Doug, we got Wagner. I want to say Wagner. I love saying it. I love saying his name. I want to say his name much more. Wagner. Yeah. Anyway. So let us know what you think about this week's origin stories of Aquaman and Killer Croc. And as always, be sure to leave us a little a note if you can on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter. We already posted up all the graphics for this week's show. Let us know what you think about it. We'd love to get your feedback on.
We're using a new hashtag this week, aren't we?
We are, as a matter of fact, and this is really cool. So we're kind of going away from the phone line and moving into more of the hashtag era. If you see something really exciting on the store shelves or at your local comic book shop or just in the theater and around geek culture in general, let us know on social media with our brand new PopX tag. It is
Oh my gosh, if you
hashtag
guys get one of those classic Nintendos, I want a picture of it to see that it really
and
exists.
hashtag us at YoPopX. Look at that, YoPopX.
Yo!
Yo, PopX. So let us know if you got something really cool. And like Lindsay said, if you get one of those Nintendos that is rumored to have released on November the 11th, but nobody has
It's like
seen one.
the Tickle Me Elmo of the geek world this year, you guys. Seriously. I want one of those.
I don't know. I'm seriously dying for one, but I haven't seen one.
Preloaded.
If you use the hashtag, we could use your post in a future show right here on PopX Live. So be sure to hashtag YoPopX.
Yo, PopX. All right. Well, we are also a part of an amazing network, you guys. It's called Gonna Geek Network. For all things even more geeky, make sure you head over to gonnageek.com and check out some of the amazing podcasts that are on our home network. Also, make sure you follow us on all of our social media. Like Joe said a minute ago, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, Pinterest, and everywhere else. You can find us at PopXcast. And also, you can email us at popxcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from our listeners. So if you guys have any suggestions about show ideas or origin stories or what geeky things you're getting people for Christmas, I want to know. I want ideas.
I definitely am into
Send
that.
me your ideas. Also, for future and past shows, make sure you go to our official website, www.popxcast.com. And you can find me, Lindsay Badger, at LR Badger, everywhere on the interwebs. Joe,
Awesome sauce.
where can we find you?
Oh man, I don't know. Sitting right here in this chair with this big tree right behind me. I don't know.
I'm digging the tree.
Yeah, Zach Blum over in the chat room says my brother's been looking so hard for the new NES, and it's literally sold out.
It is.
No matter where you are.
I heard a rumor, and I don't know if it's true, but I heard a rumor. I read it in an article, and I heard it on a podcast that I think every day on Walmart.com at 5 p.m. I believe it's Eastern. They like release a couple of them, so you have to be like super fast and get them.
Okay,
but, I could be wrong.
It's not worth that.
It's not. Just wait until next spring.
And I am Joe Berg at ROTCAV on the internet, Rotcav. And of course, hats off to amazing Team PopX here, Miss Lindsay Badger, holding down the chat and being my co-host this week in lieu of Austin's unfortunate spider bite. I don't know. I mean, maybe
I really want him to have Spidey powers when he comes back.
I hope when he comes back on that, he's in his room and he's doing one of these numbers and he's hanging from the ceiling. He's like,
he needs to do the whole show like that.
He's like, hey guys, what's going on? So, hopefully we get to see that. I don't know. Will we see that? I don't know. But I'd like to see that. But personally, and also I want to thank Mr. Mike Ippolito for doing our graphics and our slides over here in the
Mike.
big window.
You do an awesome job. Oh, look at it.
Lurch.
Get the mustard. Or the Addams family. It's the Addams family.
Anyway, Mike, I love you, dude. You never cease to amaze me. And I want to throw this out right quick. If you guys are around tomorrow night, November the 28th, yours truly will be guest hosting on our home network podcast, the Gonna Geek Podcast. They go live and the stream kicks off at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Just head over to geeks.live and enjoy the show tomorrow night with my fellow hombres from Gonna Geek. This is the first time I've been on their podcast and they've invited me. So it's
that's
really
a super special honor. That's going to be really cool.
It's pretty good. It's going to get some nerdy stuff going on there. So please join us next week right here on PopX.live for December to the 4th episode number 40. Oh my God, this is crazy. The History of Comics Part 4, The Dawn of the Silver Age. Look at that. So I'm
kind of excited about this.
This is the finale. So we started this back on episode 10, The History of Comics Part 1. And then episode 20, part 2, part 3 was on episode 30. And this is the finale. This is where comic books go from the page to the small screen, from Batman and Hulk.
So if you guys have missed out on all those episodes, go back this week and listen to them and catch up with us. And then we're going to wrap it up next Sunday. So it's going to be really cool.
It's going to be awesome. Well, from all of us here at PopX, thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. We will see you next week right here on episode 40. Holy cow, I can't believe next month we will be 1 year old. Holy cow. Where does the time go?
Not a year.
Yeah,
not
1
yet.
year. Well, next month.
Almost. It's getting close.
I'm putting it out there. I'm just
Okay.
going. I'm really excited. Can you tell I'm excited? I'm just a little bit excited. Okay.
Don't jump the gun.
Okay, I can't help it.
Okay.
I'm just really excited. Daggone it. Anyway.
Daggone. Get out of here, Joe.
All right. You guys take care. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
From everyone at PopXcast, thanks for listening. Be sure to give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and subscribe for more great content. Drop us an email, popxcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and YouTube, all at PopXcast. Get your geek on.